Good morning, everyone. This is Gary Muir, your instructor. This video will discuss the last chapter, Chapter 7 of our payroll course. It is a practice set that contains components of the Excel program, which we'll talk about shortly, and then also completing the payroll tax forms and exam at the final end. So these are the points or evaluation of the points 25, 25, and 50. All of these are due May 10th. I wanted to kind of give you an overview of where to start on this Chapter 7. And actually the project itself will begin in the Appendix A. That is the project which contains the Excel portion of it. So you can basically skip all of Chapter 7 for the most part and go right to the Appendix A section. Now I have that overview here where you'll start and read the overview in Appendix A, and just some background information, how to use Excel, and a lot of you know how to do that, copy, paste, that sort of thing, entering in formulas and so forth. The actual project's information kind of begins on discussing the Excel template that's given to you, and that's contained right here. So if I open this up, I'm using Chrome to open this up. And what you want to do is basically save this on your USB. So just do File, Save As, and save it with your name or add it to it. But basically the first section, or the first things that you will want to complete, is this Excel template. It contains, as it's discussed on page A4, the journal, which I'm showing here, which you'll make your journal entries. And then the general ledger. Once you journalize, you obviously have to post. And one nice thing about this is that you can put a date in here. December, I think 3rd is the first transaction. And journal page 45. And I'm not sure of the credit, I'm just going to enter an amount. But it automatically gives you the running balance to that transaction or that ledger sheet. So that's a nice thing to have, or a feature to have. I'm just going to reverse those out because those are not applicable. One nice thing also about the ledger sheets is that there'll be checkpoints here on the right side where you can enter your ending balance for each ledger on the right here. And if it's correct, it'll say so. If it's incorrect, it says no, you need to retry. So those are nice for making sure that each ledger sheet is completed fully. And please do these checks, make sure that they're complete. If there is a question on any of these, just let me know. And that's the same true with the payroll register. The project has most of the quarter already completed, October, November, and your job is to complete basically 3 payrolls, December 4th, the 14th, and then the 18th. Those 3 payrolls will have to be done, and the instructions in Appendix A will give you the information necessary to complete those. Since we're at the payroll register, there is a copy paste. If I did this and just copied the regular earnings down, because they basically have the same number of employees, but if I copy this down and bring it into the next payroll, it will automatically compute the Social Security, Medicare, state withholding, SUTA, and so forth. The only thing that you'll have to do is, based on the hours, right, and the book will give you the hours, regular, overtime, and so forth, that it will you will need to figure out the federal withholding for each employee based on their marital status and number of allowances here on the left. Now, Beth Woods here is a new person, so please enter that information for her along with her hours and so forth. And again, the Appendix A will give you that information. Also to the right, as long as we're looking at the payroll register, remember the employer, right, has to pay employer taxes on Social Security, Medicare, FUTA, and SUTA. Now, you'll notice that some are blank and some have amounts in. Remember, there are wage caps for Social Security. Once the employee reaches 128,400, that stops, and Medicare doesn't have a wage cap. FUTA is 7,000. SUTA, I don't remember. I thought. Now I'm going to have to go into the book here and determine what that SUTA wage cap is. On page A9 are the wage caps and rates. 10,000 is the SUTA wage cap for employers. And then finally, over on the way right, columns AP through AS are the gross pay distributions for each employee. And on A8, they show who's in what category: admin, office, sales, and plant. So that wraps up the register itself. You'll notice on the right here that there are two checkpoints: total earnings, which is gross, right, which is column Z here, and then net pay, which is over here on column AK, is the net pay for that payroll register. Again, the registers are set to auto sum, so just put the numbers in and hopefully they come out. Again, if they don't and you can't figure it out, in most cases it is the fit amount that you have to compute that may throw it off. Also, there are instructions about group insurance. You'll notice on group insurance it's the last payroll that it's taken out. And then union dues are taken out every payroll. And finally, the simple IRA is taken out for these four individuals every payroll. So look through those instructions on A1 through basically A9 as to the background information for this payroll or the payroll registers. Now, on December 14th, Virginia Russell has passed, so she does get a separate payroll check. So basically, it's completing the journal for, or the register for that person, what she did receive, and finally journalizing it and then posting it. The last payroll is December 18th, and then what's nice is our quarterly and annual totals, which again, there's great check points here. These have to be done correctly in order to fill out the forms correctly, right? We use the payroll register to help us complete the 941 form. The annual totals are used for the W-3 and the form 940. So use these totals for completing those forms. And finally, the last item is the earning records. These will be used to fill out the W-2s for each employee. Here again, there are checkpoints for the total earnings, which is the cumulative earnings. And then the other one is the enter the total for, enter the quarterly, I'm sorry. There's a quarterly total. Let me move it to the right here, or left, I'm sorry. Doesn't really show it very well. And I can't scroll over. But there's a quarterly total and then an annual total. So once I complete these and put in the amounts for each payroll, it will, or should, automatically total up. And these are not the right numbers, guys. I'm just putting numbers in here. And you'll notice as soon as I complete the last payroll, the quarterly and annual totals automatically appear. So that's what you want to enter here: the quarterly total, annual total for gross pay. Here's another checkpoint, net pay, right, which would be for the quarter, and then for the year. Here again, you should not complete the W-2s right, until these all check out as being accurate, because again that carries forward into the forms. So that's basically the process. You will do each payroll completely. You will journalize that payroll in the journal and then post it into the general ledger, and then finally update the employee earning records. And please do that as you do each payroll, and there's 3 total. All right, so that kind of gives you an overview of the Excel file that you will use to start out. So we've read the appendix information, you've done the practice set here. I'm completing the practice set for all the payrolls, starting on page A17. They give you an overview of the November 20th payroll. So just be aware of that. Another nice thing with the journalizing that I didn't talk about yet is you can go up to the November 20th payroll, and a lot of this stuff, guys, you can just copy down, right? Because really the journal entries don't change, it's just the amount that changes. And now again, this is December 4th, but you can paste this. I got to make sure I'm in the right, oh, I lost my numbers here. So copy and then paste those entries, so you don't have to do that much typing. Try to avoid typing as much as you can, and then put your amounts in for each payroll. And one little trick I've learned is I'm just going to grab, let me back up here, but this is the payroll entries, starting with, here's what I'm going to go up to the November 20th. So here's my labor cost distribution. I can copy these totals here, and those will be my first 4 entries, right, on my journal page. But use a paste special. I'm looking at space. Yeah, let's do paste special. And then paste values, because I don't want to paste the formulas. It's not working like I want. Paste special. It's not letting me paste it here, guys. Let me do some work on it. Let me put you on hold here. Thank you for holding. I finally got it, I think. You just click on it with your left mouse, paste special, and then I want to just the numbers, which are the values, and then transpose. That means I'm going to make it from horizontal and make it vertical. So that way it doesn't go across like it is in my payroll register, but it makes it come down. And then starting with the employee's Social Security, right? Go back to the payroll register. Go back to the employee's Social Security amounts, and again I'm just using this as an example, and I'm going to grab all of these numbers up through the simple, go back to my journal, credit these amounts, right click, values, transpose, paste. So that'll automatically put it in. The reason I didn't grab the cash, because the cash, if you notice on the payroll register, the net pay is right here. It skips the column for the check numbers, and then I have to copy that one separately. So try that little trick. It again helps avoid that possibility of entering in a number incorrectly or skipping them out. And just once you're done transposing and copying these numbers, just verify that the amounts are appropriate for the right account. Okay, so that kind of wraps up our Excel overview. I also have here check figures in a PDF format for each payroll. So here's the December 4th payroll, what you should have for total earnings and net pay, what you should have for feudo-taxable and pseudo-taxable wages. And then we add another employee on the December 18th, Paul Young, and obviously his wages are subject to FUTA and SUTA because he has not met the wage cap. Federal withholding, very important number to hit because you do look up that information on your own, 803 for the December 4th, and on the December 15th, because we have a huge bonus of $75,000 going to Anil, their withholding really jumps up in that December 18th payroll. So just be aware of that. You're going to have to use the percentage method. There's also changes in maybe a W-4 that you have to watch for, number of allowances claimed, so that does influence the amount of federal withholding. Finally, the Russell, the third payroll that you're going to have to complete just for one employee because she passed, the net pay check figure should come out to $2,194.72. So use these check figures along with obviously the check figures that are available in the blue boxes in the Excel. Again, do your best to come out to those check figures. Remember, this project is a TSA project. You must maintain that 70% completion in order to get the grade that you've earned in the course. If not, my only choice is to give you a letter D or lower for the course itself, no matter where you are sitting. So please take this project seriously, ask questions as you run into them, and don't wait until December or May 5th or May 10th to start the project. This is a 2-week project, so don't think that you can do it in a day or so. So if I scroll down here, once you've complete all of the Excel components and so forth, the project then goes into the forms. Now, there are 4 forms that you will have to complete. And again, I've got the instructions here where they are in the book, A21. So if I jump to A21, and you're going to look at February 1st, the A is the quarterly report for 941. And again, you'll use your payroll register quarterly reports to help you fill in the form 941. Also needed for 941 form is the deposits, and those you'll get off the ledger sheets. Or your journal entry, right? You're going to have to, for each payroll, record employer taxes and then also record the deposit of the payroll taxes once a month. So December 15th and January 15th and obviously November 15th. So you'll have to go back a little bit in your journal pages to find the November deposit for the 4th quarter, right? We're doing the 4th quarter here. Form 940 is the next form that will be completed in Cengage. As you can see, the link is right here. That form is an annual report, obviously, and here too you'll use the payroll register to give you the gross wages for the year. This is an annual form. And then you can also use the payroll register to, along with the information in letter B, to help you fill out that form. Now, if you notice here on the payroll registers itself, you're looking at the 4th quarter, which is October, November, December, right? So if you look at this, October 9th is the first one in the 4th quarter, you'll see that in column AN are the taxable FUTA wages. So you got the wages subject to the tax for each payroll right here, and you would simply add those up for the, including December's, and to give you a total for the annual year. So that information is located in column AN here. The other forms that you'll be required to do is on the W-2s, which will come from the earning records for each employee, and then finally the W-3, which you'll use a combination. I would think you probably would use your W-2s. You could do that, or you could use the totals again from your payroll register for the year. The only thing we got to worry about there is, remember, With a simple IRA, it reduces the wages subject to federal withholding, and also O'Neill, who went over the 128,400 wage cap, the Social Security wages for the year are different than the total wages for the year, which would be reported in 5A and 5C on the not only for the quarter but also for the W-3 transmittal form for the year. And this link here will take you to the forms. So let's do that quickly. It's like a regular assignment. So there are 3 check my works for each of these transactions, and you can see that on the bottom here. Let me make this a little bigger. So transaction 35 is the 941 form. So you'll have to complete not only the wages and so forth subject to the tax, but also the deposits, which you'll get from your journal entries. Form 36 is the Form 940, which is the unemployment taxes. Again, a combination of the payroll register totals for the year as well as the taxable FUTA wages can be determined from the payroll registers. And then you'll notice a number 10 and number 24 are the W-2s. We did fire Ruth Williams, so we have to give you her W-2 before the end of the year. And then also Virginia Russell, the person who died, we have to complete her W-2 separately as well before the end of the year. Those instructions for 10 and 24 again are found within the instructions in Appendix A. Finally, the rest of the W-2s for everybody else, for all the employees who did get wages, are contained in number 5. Again, there are 3 check my works, but if the employee earning record is correct and it checks out, simply transferring that information to here should be pretty good. There are some things that the book will tell you what goes in box 13, what goes in box 14, so make sure you read those instructions. And finally, the last form, again, you have 3 checks for this form. It's the W-3, so use your totals off the payroll register for the year. I guess you could also, if you wanted to, add up all the W-2s in 10, 24, and 38 to give the totals. So you may want to put that in Excel, but hopefully you can just use the totals coming off the payroll register to complete most of this form appropriately. So this section of the practice set is worth 25 points itself, just completing all of these forms here. So I'm going to sign out. And then the last requirement on this project, obviously, is to complete the exam. Now, the exam questions are located at the back of the Appendix A. A25 is where they start. So as you do your payroll registers, you can start completing your exam. The questions, the paper questions, are on starting A25, A27, and A29, except on A29, as you can see, do not do questions 6, 7, or 10. These 3 are not required for the exam. There may be 1 or 2 that are not listed in the paper copy that are contained in the exam. It's like a regular exam. It's worth this time only 50 points, not 100, because of the other points assigned to the Excel and the forms. So that section is different as far as point value. So I'm going to enter Cengage again. And with the test, remember, there are no check my works here. So as you can see here on the left, it identifies what payroll it's regarding, 12-4 in this case. And as you go down, it switches to 12-14. So they are in payroll entry order. And then finally, after the 14th, you have December 18th. And then these final questions, obviously, are the year-end. Once I get down here, are some other questions associated with the payroll year-end questions, for the most part, are contained in the last couple of questions here. So hopefully, if you've done everything correctly in the front end as far as completing the registers and making your journal entries appropriately, that the test should be pretty much a finder's exam, completing it in the workbooks if you want to first on pages A25 through A29, and then just transferring those amounts into your exam here in CNOW. So to wrap things up here, basically follow the sequence as it's shown here. Please ask me questions as you go through the assignment. Use your check figures when you can, and if that doesn't help you find your error, then just send me an email, and we'll try to resolve it over the email question if we can. Even on the test, if you're not so certain on the question itself, what kind of question it is, and also be careful on the test. Sometimes I'm asking for the taxable wages, and sometimes I'm asking for the actual tax amount. So you want to be careful that you are answering the question appropriately. Again, use your book to verify that you understand whether it's a wage amount that they're looking for or whether it's a tax amount they're looking for. Thank you for your time, guys, and good luck.